Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Before you scroll, before you assume you've heard this before you tell yourself, this sounds nice but my situation is different, pause. Because what you are about to hear is not motivation, it is not comfort, it is not emotional relief. It is a reality check for the soul. Let me ask you a question that most people avoid. What if the reason your heart feels heavy lately is not because Allah has forgotten you, but because you are standing at the edge of His answer? Think carefully. Why is it that people often give up right before things change? Why does hope feel hardest to hold at the very moment it matters most? Because delay creates an illusion. And that illusion whispers lies. It tells you nothing is happening. Your du'a is not being heard. Others are chosen. Maybe you are not. But illusions collapse when truth enters. And here is the truth most people are never taught. Allah's silence is not absence, it is alignment. Tonight you are not here by accident. You are here because hope is being tested, and Allah tests only what He intends to elevate. Now listen carefully. Hope does not disappear dramatically. It fades politely. You don't wake up one day and stop believing. You wake up tired of waiting, tired of praying the same words, tired of explaining your pain to Allah, as if He does not already know. At first you are patient, then patient but confused, then patient but guarded, and eventually something dangerous happens. You stop expecting goodness. You still pray, but without anticipation. You still make dua, but with a backup plan for disappointment. This is not disbelief. This is exhausted faith. And exhausted faith is exactly where Shaitan prefers you. Because when you are exhausted, he doesn't need to convince you that Allah doesn't exist. He only needs to convince you that Allah probably won't act for you. Here is a hard truth. The believer is not destroyed by hardship. The believer is destroyed by interpretation of hardship. You interpret delay as rejection. You interpret struggle as abandonment. You interpret unanswered dua as personal failure. But Allah never said delay means no. Humans did. Allah never said suffering means distance. Fear did. Let me challenge your thinking. If Allah wanted to push you away, why are you still turning to Him? If Allah had closed the door, why do you still feel pulled to knock? Because something inside you knows this is not the end, and this is where most people misunderstand Allah's mercy. Silence makes humans panic. We equate silence with absence, delay with denial, waiting with loss. But Allah does not operate on human anxiety. When Allah is silent, He is not inactive. He is selective. While you are replaying scenarios in your mind, Allah is removing outcomes that would have harmed your iman. While you are watching others move ahead, Allah is protecting you from arriving unprepared. Let me interrupt your thoughts for a moment. Have you ever noticed that the things you once begged for now feel irrelevant or even dangerous? That was not coincidence. That was divine filtering. Allah answers dua in ways that preserve your akhirah, not your impatience. Here is why this moment matters. If Allah were to give you everything immediately, you would mistake speed for love. But Allah wants certainty, not dependency on timing. And here is the urgency most people ignore. Giving up does not cancel the decree. It only removes you from being ready when it arrives. Allah's gifts are heavy. They require spiritual strength. So He builds you quietly, through waiting, through restraint, through moments where faith becomes a choice, not a feeling. You think you are being ignored, but the reality is this: Allah is teaching you how to stand before He allows you to receive. And the most shocking part, the closer the relief, the heavier the doubt feels. Which means, if your heart feels restless right now, you may be standing closer than ever. And that realization changes everything. There is a moment in every believer's journey that feels heavier than the struggle itself. Not because the pain is greater, but because hope feels fragile. This is the stage where you have done everything right. You prayed. You waited. You stayed halal when shortcuts were available. You held your tongue when silence was harder than speaking. And still, that nothing looks different. This is not accidental. This is the final test of sincerity, because anyone can trust Allah when results are visible, but only the truthful trust Him when obedience feels unrewarded. Let me interrupt your thoughts for a moment. If Allah intended to deprive you, He would not have trained you in patience. If Allah planned to disappoint you, He would not have strengthened your heart to endure this far. What you call almost giving up is often the exact moment Allah calls victory closer. Here is what most people don't understand. Relief does not announce itself. It approaches silently. And when it arrives faster than fear can react. One sincere moment, one alignment of intention, one internal surrender. And suddenly, what felt impossible becomes inevitable. But Shaitan knows this. That is why, at this stage, he does not attack your belief. He attacks your expectation. He tells you more, don't hope too much. Prepare for disappointment. Lower your standards. But lowering hope in Allah is not wisdom. It is surrender to fear. Allah does not reward perfection. He rewards persistence. And persistence, at this moment, is the rarest form of worship, which brings us to the final truth. Do not lose hope, not because circumstances are improving, but because Allah has never failed a reminder. Your responsibility is not to control outcomes, it is to remain connected. Pray even when your heart feels quiet. Obey even when motivation is absent. Trust even when understanding is incomplete. Because Allah's promise does not depend on your emotional state. It depends on His decree. And when Allah decides the time has come, no force can delay it. Not people, not systems, not missed chances, not even your past mistakes. Here is the certainty that ends fear. What Allah has written for you will reach you, even if the entire world stands in the way. Your waiting was not ignored. Your tears were not wasted. Your restraint was not unseen. Every moment of patience was shaping you into someone who could carry the blessing without losing Allah. So remain where you are. Remain sincere. Remain upright. Remain hopeful, without desperation. Because Allah's surprises do not arrive early. They arrive exactly on time. And when they do, you will understand. The delay was not distance, it was direction. The silence was not absence, it was mercy. And the hope you almost let go of was the very thing keeping you close to Allah. This is where fear ends. This is where trust settles. This is where waiting turns into certainty. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.